all these movies, I'm guessing and I'm confident, have great gestation stories, and I wonder if we could just start off by going around the room and talking about sort of the key moments of how the movies came together and how you came to be involved, at what stage you came to be involved with each project.
It's a story that was very personal to the two of them and about the sort of American identity and the sort of situation we find a lot of people find themselves in today's country.
I think it was Natalie Portman sort of brought it to the Wachowskis' attention 6-7 years ago.
It only took a moment to decide this was something that we really wanted to do. I mean, it helps when you're sleeping with the writer-director. He came to me as soon as he'd read it. And
Not Fade Away is a movie that probably shouldn't be a studio movie.
When we made it, it was a 2013 movie. We always hope, we're producers, in the back of our minds, it's going to be great and they're going to want to put it out at the end of the year. They did not. They saw it. They said, okay, I think we're going to put it out. Can you have it ready by November 23rd? So we lost 2 months of post. And 3 weeks later, they said, we could open the AFI Fest. That's November 1st, and we lost another 3 weeks of post.
And I got a phone call from his then agent, the wonderful late Ed Lamato, who said, I've just read this script, Walter, and I think it's marvelous for Denzel. And I remember saying, Ed, there's like only about 200 African-American pilots out of 12,000 in the union, and this one happens to be an alcoholic and a drug addict. Is that a good choice? He said, oh no, Denzel will love that. And as it turned out, he did. Denzel did something that's never happened to us before. He committed to the movie, committed without a director, committed knowing that the studio did not intend to make the movie necessarily, but he just felt a connection to the material and to the part, so that was the beginning.
You have to have thick skin, but you can't bemoan or somehow, feel the sorrow of a no. You just pick yourself up immediately and go on to the next person. As somebody once said, you just need one yes.
When you have a movie star who's writing it and producing it and willing to go do it, you can navigate the system faster. So I would say we were very lucky in the sort of speed of Promised Land because, Matt had a certain ability to sort of get people to take it seriously and look at it right away. Matt realized that he couldn't do a good job. And so this is bad. It was, basically a year ago, Christmas time last year. And he just said, look, I don't think I can do it.
There's this conflict as a producer, which is you have a job which is to get the movie made, and you have a job which is to get the movie made well. And there are moments where you have a chance to get the movie made. And for you to decide not to take that opportunity because somewhere deep inside you think, no, this isn't good enough, no, this doesn't feel right, not knowing if that opportunity will ever come again is the knife edge of this job.
Every choice you make on a movie has both artistic and financial consequences. Every choice. So it's a constant battle. It's every pre-production, everything during production, every step in everything has both artistic and financial consequences.
How often does one side win versus the other?
It's always a trade-off. You're always compromising. You have to make sure that you don't compromise your way out of quality.
Or in the case I was part of the successful franchise, the American Pie movies, we don't sit around and talk about art. We talk about, we can get a lot of kids to watch this, or we can make them laugh, or we can have a good time, and that's the goal.
most of our investors thought they'd never see a penny again and invested, I think, out of the goodness of their heart.
I don't think you can try to be commercial any more than you can try to be taller than you are. I think what you can do is follow your instincts. And if they're commercial, you're going to be okay. And if they're not, you can't make up for that. I worked for many years with the most commercial filmmaker in the history and the most successful and maybe the greatest, Mr. Spielberg, and I promise you he never tries to be commercial.
Very hard to discuss with a studio in the room and not have to have some version of that discussion.
Alfred Hitchcock, at that moment in his life after North by Northwest, extremely successful movie commercially, went and did Psycho that no one would finance. He had to put up his own money to make the movies, both the producer and the director of it, and did it without any idea that it would be commercial. He wanted to do something different because he didn't want to be accused of self-plagiarism which is, of course, exactly what the auteur theory is, but made that decision, went off and did it, and it turned out to be the most commercial movie ever made.
Somebody asked me the other day, what's the, sort of glibly, what's the most important thing to happen in the movie business in the past 10 years? And I said, cable television.
Yeah.
And there is not a major filmmaker, feature filmmaker, who does not want to get in television right now or isn't already in it, from directors to writers. And thank goodness that they can flex that muscle through cable television, because often they can't do it through feature films.
The time of the studio drama is over, or at least it's an anomaly.
Sometime in 2010, I called my husband up from where I was doing a day job and said, I don't think I can do this much more unless there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And for me at the time, it was going back to Australia. I mean, we'd been here for 16 years, and I was really feeling at that stage, when John came on board, that's when the tables really turned, I think.
Cloud Atlas was a little bit of a hybrid because we had, some support from Warner Brothers in terms of a domestic deal, but it was at a level that sort of worked for them and was very useful to us. But the rest of the money then became sort of an assembly, as you would have gone through, and everybody has been through in some version before. There is increasingly, I think, an amount of interest in people that will support you, whether it's cast, it's occasionally, some financial elements that enable you to sort of keep the momentum going.
There is hardly a movie made in the studio system today that isn't dependent on some kind of outside money.
The truth of the matter is, movies have to reach a level of excellence. The script has to get good. And whether or not you have the right to say, we're going to make that movie, it's about the same, because the script has to still reach the same level of excellence to still attract the directors and actors and other elements and financing to justify it being made.